Hi, my name is Jill Clyburn, and I'm going to take you on a virtual tour of our house, which is close to Santa Fe, New Mexico, on the Turquoise Trail. I'm going to share a PowerPoint, which is a little bit of an old-fashioned way to do it, but uh, I think this is a good overview for people who maybe are interested to know, well, is energy efficient solar home just for a particular kind of people, or can it be in a mid-range home? I would say that that's what we have. We moved here in the 1990s, and this house was built by a fella who had some plans that he obtained from the community college. And he proceeded to work on this house. And then when we moved here, we continued working on it. And it has acquired quite a lot of features over the years. And yet it's still very much a practical house. When you say a house is a passive solar house, that is just one term that is used for this kind of design with nature home. There may be other ways that people refer to it. The basic elements, though, are the same, and I'll just kind of run through this list. You can look it up on this website that I've provided, which I think is a nonprofit. Um, there's a solar orientation, daylighting, shading, high performance windows, moisture management, superior insulation, thermal bridge free design, which is kind of a engineering element, airtight construction, heat recovery, and efficient water heating. Our home scores on about 7 out of 10. And I think this is, part of what you're working on is like, does the house work for you? Is this where you want to land? As you can see, as far as energy saving and cost saving and comfort, this is where we wanted to land. The simplest approach is to site your home correctly and take advantage of the free energy of the sun. In the summertime, the sun crosses the sky very high, and in this home, the overhangs are properly sized to shade the windows from the incoming sun. In the winter, when the sun is low, the sun comes streaming in the windows and gives us both light and heat and beauty. That's three things. On the north-facing side, we don't have very many windows. It's protected. And in fact, within the home, uh, the layout of the house is such that we have a bathroom, a closet, and kind of a spare office room on this side of the house. So there's a buffer there. And this is very good functioning for this home. The picture window that you see there is triple pane glass, and it uses energy efficient window coverings. We like the twin cell, or earlier we had triple cell blinds. And you can get those in automated features if you don't want to operate them, but I personally like interacting with my windows, and they're beautiful and very functional. In the kitchen, you can see some more of this at work. This picture was taken just recently in the fall, and so it's kind of an equinox setting where the sun is beginning to stream in the windows and brighten up the house. The skylights are a favorite feature for daylighting, but I wanted to mention if you're interested in skylights, there are very much state-of-the-art skylights that you'd want to be looking at, which are very efficient and then well installed. All of the other features add up, but of course, you can go back and look at this slide if you want to see what some of the other things are. In the living room, on the lower part of the slide, you can see that we have an energy efficient gas stove. This is really New Mexico, and so, heating with wood is part of our culture, and we have a energy efficient and environmentally sound wood stove. It also is installed in the middle of the house where that heavy wall takes a little of the thermal mass, and we have ceiling fans throughout the house to keep the air circulation. For more serious heating, we have a propane gas furnace. And at the time we purchased it, we were considering whether to go with a heat pump. I think today most electric utilities have a greater percentage of renewables on the grid. So, in essence, when you're using a heat pump with electricity, you may be partially a solar electric home because the utility is investing in renewables, and that's good for everybody. At the time that we purchased this, our utility had a pretty low percentage of renewables, and so this was a pretty good bet for us. Also, in a very efficient New Mexico home, you may not need year-round heating and air conditioning. So the air conditioning element is something that we really didn't need, and even to this day, we purchased a very efficient window air conditioner that we use just when the temperature and the sun is at its summer maximum. This one is called a condensing furnace, and if you're not familiar with it, basically what it's doing is it's using the extra heat exchanger to take the combustion air, and before it is completely expelled from the unit, it it takes more of the energy out of that exhaust. So in that process, there is a condensation of water, and so there's also a condensate drain line. This kind of unit has a over 95% efficiency. And I think the major consideration I would say is you want to make sure you have a good installer who knows what they're doing with this. We did, and it's been working great. A good house needs less PV. Well, we added insulation to an already passive solar efficient home, and we insulated our crawl space. We added the top of the line windows and window coverings, and the lights are all energy efficient. But, by the time you add up the appliances and everything, we needed a 3 kilowatt PV system. And we find that we even have room to grow. It does have an inverter that can take battery storage. Currently, our utility does net metering in kind of the traditional way. So the carryover of abundant generation in the summer will help us to net out our energy bill in the winter. And so, this is very easy. But if the conditions change, we're excited by the opportunity to do some load management in our home, and to use the battery. That would also be a good option. In terms of how the PV has worked, it's performed according to what we were promised. You can see that the performance year on year since it was installed in 2016 in the spring, so it's not a full year in 2016. It's been very consistent. The weather has been different from year to year, so there's always going to be some variation. And there's a slight degradation of the panels, but we really haven't experienced that at this point. And of course, it's 2025 is still ongoing, so we haven't seen the total performance for the end of this year. In general, we pay no electric bill. The electric bill that you're looking at there on the right side summary shows that in July of this past year, we were using pretty much all solar, and we had an electric bill that was fixed costs plus taxes. So can't complain about that. With the electric vehicle, we considered going with an all-electric vehicle, but again, I think this home is a good example of what's practical for us and that you can make these decisions. There are so many options now for energy efficiency and an all-electric performance that you can look at your needs and you can think, well, I'm going to do this right now, and then maybe later I'll do something more. In this case, we really like the idea of, being able to explore the West, which is big and has not exactly a lot of chargers along the rural routes at this point. So, we're getting up to 80 miles per gallon, and if we're in town, we get more than 35 miles for an all-electric charge. A lot of people don't realize that these vehicles can charge in a regular electric outlet. So, that's a nice option too. You can have a portable charger and take it with you. We do want to get that level 2 charger, and I think that'll be a quick turnaround when we decide we want to charge up. The most important thing about this home, I think, is the way that it interacts with nature. It's in a beautiful setting. We have 3 acres, and then there's a lot of open land around us. It has gorgeous sunsets, lots of birds. It's been landscaped really to work with nature. I made sure that we have swales and catchments, and we only use native plants, and that's been a process that we've worked on for years in order to kind of cultivate an environment that keeps working despite the variations and the challenges of the weather in New Mexico. All those grasses that you see here are native grasses. And we have some fruit trees and a shade tree that you can see there. We love it. And it's really made a difference in our lives. If you have any questions, you can reach me through the app. And if you're planning to move to New Mexico or thinking about it, reach out to me and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you. And thank you to ASES. If you're considering that you already have a passive solar home or a PV system, consider getting on this solar tour. I think once we really have a lot of folks sharing, it will spread the word about solar nationwide.